Good morning, good evening, afternoon, supper time. I don't know. Whatever you're up to. Welcome to the show. This is LoreForged Live. No, it's not. This is LoreForged. I always say LoreForged Live. You guys notice that? Like, this is the Twitch event. It's LoreForged Live. So people, everyone who's listening, you can come watch the show live. But this is LoreForged, the podcast for Ashes of Creation.
This is LoreForged pre-recorded. It doesn't have the same ring. It really doesn't.
It just doesn't. No. Oh, this is LoreForged from last week at 8 p.m. But
which was live then.
Which was live then? Yeah.
When will then be now?
Yeah.
Soon.
Yep. As soon as Alpha 2 releases.
That's right. Well, anyway, this is episode 38. We are your hosts. My name's Jibs, and I'm joined by Cash. Oh, I caught him mid-drink.
You did it on purpose.
I know. So good.
He's looking at two cameras, and he's looking at two cameras, and he has the ability to choose anybody he wants. And he chooses the guy that's drinking first. Hello, everybody. My name is Cash. I'm very happy to be here.
And Mr. Sonny Ravencourt.
Long-time listener, first-time caller, Craig. Glad to be here.
Oh, that's so good. That reminds me of the days, Cash, when you were on, when you talk about when you would write into Old Republic Radio.
New Public Radio?
Yeah.
Old Republic
you
Radio?
kept writing in, and then you got on the show.
Yep. That's because they got sick of me answering my mail all the time. And they're like, well, I guess this guy can put together a couple of sentences. We might as well see if he wants to be on the show.
Would it be more efficient if we just gave him like 5 minutes so to check 19 emails every week?
It probably would have saved him a lot of grief and me a podcasting career. Like that.
Oh gosh, that's good. Well, welcome in, gentlemen, and welcome in, everybody. Thanks so much, all of you here at LoreForged Live. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for hanging out. And for those of you who are listening or watching on YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Push and play. We sure do appreciate it. This week on the show, we are talking Midnight Magic, the update, dev update. We are going to be reviewing that. But before we get to that, gentlemen, Ashes of Creation put out a fun announcement that's officially official. Sonny, you want to say what's going on?
I certainly can. Ashes of Creation is going to be doing an AMA, which is Ask Me Pre-Vetted Questions. And it will be with Steven Shariff, and he has invited 4 guests that are all content creators that you know and love. One of them is Nice Gaming, the other is Jamie Chaos and Vladis, and then LoreForged. Now, of all of those, I guess Jamie Chaos does have 2 people on his show, right? So maybe they asked Jamie the same sort of thing, pick somebody from the show. But they asked us, we really want somebody from your show, and we're going to let you guys decide. And so between the 3 of us, we decided, and I would have been happy if either one of these 2 guys ended up doing it. They told me that I should do it, and so here we are. So I will be the person that is going on the Twitch stream, which will be taking place at 11 PST, and I can't tell you how many times I've checked the time zone difference on this thing, despite knowing it by heart. That is at 1 o'clock Central Time and 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And it will be live on Twitch. And each content creator, so there's 4 content creators, and they all have 5 questions. And the questions have been checked by Margaret, but we don't necessarily know if that just means that she thinks they're appropriate to be asked, but whether Steven will answer them or not. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of good questions that are already out there, and we have our 5 questions. And yes, a couple of them will be lore-based questions. And yes, we know that Steven has not answered lore-based questions in the past, but damn it, we are going to ask a couple lore-based questions. And if I look like an idiot doing it, then I don't care, because you probably should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think if Steven answers those questions, nope, not answering that. Cards close to the chest. You have to figure it out during alpha. Then I'll cry then. Or if he answers it, hey, idiot, you know that I don't answer lore questions, which, he'll never do. He's a very gracious person. I'm going to laugh either way, but I do have an idea. And I'm going to throw this out live on the show. Neither of you know about this. I propose that the community chooses the bow tie you wear.
Ooh.
Oh,
I like that.
Yes.
all right. I have a selection of bow ties.
I have a selection.
I have
Yes.
I can post. I don't know how we'll do this, but I have a selection of bow ties, and we could do something like this. Yes, that is actually a very good idea. We can make this happen. I will work on this. I
I like this. You remind me of a guy, like, back in the day when, like, dads, we would have our, like, billfolds, and then you'd have, like, the portraits that just drop down with, like, all of your family. That's like Sonny with bow
some
ties.
pictures of my kids.
So I was like, oh, you want bow ties?
I got like bow ties just sitting around. I got bow ties that are,
look at
that are
that.
pre-tied bow ties.
Yeah.
I got like tie myself a bow tie. I can do that too. I mean, I got a whole rack of bow ties. It's a
Sonny,
thing.
do you ever use the little clippies? The clippy bow ties?
No, as close as I'll get is this, which has a clip on the back side, but I have not. No, I won't wear like one with like clips right here. That's like the whole thing's like this big.
Yeah.
But these do have clips, but I do have bow ties that I do tie myself. So I can tie bow ties.
Yeah. But so I mean, it just shows me that you're way classier than I ever thought you were. The fact that you just don't like clip it on.
Just click.
All right. I'll give you credit there. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good.
It's going to be a blast. We are truly honored. All three of us are truly honored on this, because it is a big deal for us to be in the conversation. And that's all we really ever wanted, was to be having a seat at the table. And so to be invited to something like this in the middle of such other fantastic content creators is just a very big deal for us. So we were very, very excited.
Yeah.
And hopefully this, goes into the next step, and we become, continue to be in the mix for content creators for the foreseeable future for Ashes of Creation. So, Cash, what else? We got like more announcements.
Yeah. And just to tag onto that before I do our next announcement, you're absolutely correct. And I think that it goes without saying that we're incredibly humbled to have been asked to be on a panel like this. And it's the fact that all three of us can't be on there is completely understandable. I mean, they have things that they have to keep going. So just picking one of us, and we thought Sonny would be the perfect person to go on to, represent our brand and what we're doing and just who we are as friends first, and then as content creators and fans of Ashes of Creation. So we're really, really looking forward to seeing you on. And again, Intrepid, like, thank you so much for seeing us. Like, we really do appreciate that. We love your game. So I think it shows, hopefully.
1000%.
And in that same vein, we are also very excited to announce that on May 22nd, we will have a very special guest joining us on our show. And that friend is a fantastic content creator and a really, really nice guy. And that, I don't know why that reminds me of, and one hell of a nice guy. Nice Gaming will be joining us on May 22nd for our live show. So you guys can all look forward to that. I know we are, and I hope he is too. So
it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to that. We haven't had a guest on in a while.
It's been a while. Yeah. And Nice was definitely on our list, and he actually hit us up first to do the collab with him on his lore video, which was also an honor to do. So yeah, we're really happy to have him on.
Agreed. All right.
We've made a lot of very good friends in this space.
Yeah.
For the vast majority of like the people that we've encountered, they are just great people, fun content creators. Like it's been good. The three of us have been doing this for a long time, and we have been in other creative spaces that were not this good, right? The other content creators, everybody was trying to carve their own piece of the pie, and it was very much a finite game of viewers. And that is not a fun way to live when you're trying to do this, especially not over the long run. So it is very, very nice to have these kind of relationships where we're able to lean on other people and they're able to lean on us. I've been asked like a couple times by people just for like something help quick. Hey, I need a voice for this. Hey, I need a thing for this. And for the vast majority of, if we are able to accomplish it in any way, shape, or form, we will do it. And that kind of stuff has come back around to us as well. So I just wanted to say that, like, it's nice to be here in this kind of environment. It's not always this way.
I see what you did there.
I know. I really have to stop saying nice. Like, I'm going to have to find a new word. Like, when he's on, he's like, I'm just going to start referring to everything as excellent.
We love it, dude. We love
Totally
it, dude.
excellent,
We'll nice all day long.
Oh, that's
What an
good.
excellent day out.
Oh, that's. I want to use that in our text, in our group text for the next week.
It's so alien of you.
That's funny. Good morning, gentlemen. It's such an excellent day.
Excellent day.
I guess maybe that'd be more Pyrian.
Have an excellent day.
Oh, definitely way more period. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, gosh. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Well, anyway. So, gentlemen, do you want to jump in the review?
Let's do it.
What review? Oh, that's right. All those notes I took earlier.
Review.
Yeah, I'm like 4 hours off seeing this thing.
Well,
I did a live stream earlier today and had a rewatch of it. And it was, I mean, do we just want to jump right into this, or do you want to lead into it, or what do you want to do?
take us there, Sonny. You're halfway there.
Okay.
Let's jump right in.
So we had a development update. It is our monthly update for the month of May, I guess. Really early into May. It's May 2nd. So we had an update that was called Midnight Magic, and that was the source of one of the most insane YouTube videos ever made, which took all of that and tried to predict the release date of Alpha 2. And none of that was, of course, present in the actual development update. But what was there was lighting effects, particularly night, and what they call the skybox, which will be a part of their constellation system as well. And then quite a bit of wand work leading into the weapon skill sets and the weapon adjustments. And I want to say augments, but I think augments is actually the wrong word. So it's like the weapon skill tree, more or less. And then other than that, you got to see a cool turtle, and that was kind of it. You know, it was a different sort of stream, and they had some good messages, and they had a very interesting conversation about what they thought was important. So you guys are the worst. I said wand work, and these guys are children, and they just can't get over.
He started it. So. You know, I didn't type that. Cash. You know what was funny? Like my 5-year-old kid was like laughing at the word duty, or like my 11-year-old kid, and I instantly thought of Cash. So I'm like, anytime duty comes up in conversation, he says duty.
This is true. There are people in the chat right now that are like, "Oh, they picked Sonny to talk to Steven." Okay,
that makes sense.
I'll tell you what, we would have Steven laughing his ass off, but I
he
just
seems
want to
like
mention,
that kind of guy. Yeah,
you go get your red flag together, because the only joke I could think of is that, wand work. That's how I ended up with a daughter.
So flagged.
Gosh.
So flagged.
Oh, so. Oh, was that the field goal?
I'll see myself out, is what you're about to say.
Yeah. Well, hey, before we even talk about the skybox or the sand squall, what do y'all think about that lore dump we had in there? That was cool and unexpected. We had the God
about
of Time,
the Harbingers and the moon and the exploding planet thing that they had. I listened to that. I was like, well, hang on. And then we had a reveal also of the God of Time, or the Goddess of Time.
Eterna.
Yes.
The Ageless Warden. I thought that was such a cool title.
It's
so like Cash, except he's aged.
I was flipping out when I heard that, and I will just mention I was watching that in the office, on my headphones, like trying to hide it. It's like, oh my God, they're doing lore. Steven's doing lore drops. So I was super stoked to hear about that, and just the visuals that accompanied that second moon, but I totally nerded out on the 2 moon part, by the way. I was like, what? He said moons. Holy crap, there's 2 moons. And then one of them is actively falling apart because it was hit by a harbinger.
Yeah.
And then Steven just so matter-of-factly says, oh yeah, if you're not familiar with the lore, and I was like, we are. And then he starts dropping bombs. I was like, Steven! Oh my God, Steven! That's lore. That's going on the wiki.
You're the guy that screams on the roller coaster as it goes up.
Writing down. Wait, oh my God, get a pen.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was fired. I was super fired up about that. Oh. Luckily, I didn't like burst out in the office. Have everybody like.
Are they really surprised at this point?
No. There's not a single person where I work that is surprised at how much of a nerd I am. Not a single person.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. Sonny, you brought up that turtle mount. Cash and I last saw that turtle mount last time we were in the content creation space in like 2021. I'll never forget that turtle mount.
Same turtle?
Same turtle.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that guy coming back. That was such a nice pull.
Turtles do live a long time.
He's very wise. Very wise.
Galapagos.
Oh, yeah.
Is it? I thought it was Galapagos. That's not it.
Yeah, that is. You got it. There you go.
Yeah, you got it in one. Yeah. Oh, you got it in one. So anyway, guys, yeah, Sonny, take it away. Sorry, I kind of jumped in there, but
well, I think that we have to actually, I got a little bit ahead of myself because the whole thing started with a very important conversation that Steven had. And that was to all of the people out there that are watching. And I think that it's fair to say that if you're watching a development stream of Ashes of Creation at this point, then you are sort of invested in the process, right? Like you're a little bit beyond the average person that's just going to pick this thing up on Steam on, release day or something like that. You are here way early. So if you have access to the alpha, and even if you don't, frankly, Steven had a bit of a PSA where he announced his request of more or less everybody to understand that alpha is indeed still an alpha, despite the fact that they have made a boatload of money off of this thing. And there is a ton of people, like we were trying to figure out how many people on Burns's thing. And it could be like 200,000-300,000 people in the alpha. Okay. Despite that, this is not a release. Okay. And he reiterated this. This is a testing phase. There is going to be stuff that is broken. There is going to be stuff that is fun, but there is going to be stuff that is not fun because it is in fact broken. There are going to be things that you actively break in the process of playing the game that they don't even know about. And then there is the possibility of complete server wipes. They did say that that's not their intention to do this, but it is a realistic possibility, if not a probability, that might happen. So he said, you got to chill on this and you got to try your best to explain to people that are freaking out about the condition of the game when they see it in alpha that we are still in alpha. So what did you guys think about that?
I think what happened there is, and I actually I felt like very bad for Steven, because of course he wants to show, the entire team wants to show the best product. They want their best foot forward at all times. And you got to just imagine, like from a creator's perspective, from somebody who records videos, like at least I know us three, and I'm sure a lot of people out there can understand what probably happened during that process. He gets together with the developers, the glorious developers, which I love. I love how he announces them all the time as glorious. It's glorious. But you get these developers together, and they're pre-recording this footage for this showcase. And right in the middle of pre-recording, which, he's 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, like you're not going to restart the thing and figure out what happens. He's in the middle of a fight with these glorious, gosh, what were the
Minotaurs?
I don't know what those were.
Minotaurs.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this
those
fight with these amazing looking desert biome Minotaurs. And then what happens in the middle of this recording? A freaking Bethesda box like pops up on this thing. And he was awesome. He didn't miss a beat. He just said, oh man, oh, look at that. Oh, so this is alpha, guys. There's bugs. And I'm pretty sure that's what preempted his mention of it during the live showcase. And like, I felt for him because again, like they want their best foot forward on this. So for something like that to pop up is unfortunate, but it does bring up that point that Sonny just mentioned and something that Steven was hoping that people understand and realize is that this is a true alpha. So when you're going into the alpha, which there's tons of people out there, I'm sure that are going to be in there, as Sonny was saying, probably 200,000 to 300,000 people in this alpha, just understand, yes, they want you to enjoy the game. They want you to have that enjoyment of the game so that you continue to follow and support and talk good things about. But remember what the alpha is made for, or what access to that alpha is really for. And that is for experiencing the game, testing the game, providing feedback for the game so that they can fix those issues and continue on the development process. So I'm just going to throw that out there again. It's not a complete game. So just cull your expectations of what the game is going to be. It is an alpha. It's not further along polished as beta. He was talking about them being in milestone 9. And then in milestone 10, the polish for the player will take place. And I really like that they kind of laid that out. We just finished 8. We're now into 9. 9 is going to be the bulk of what they need to finish up systems wise for the release of Alpha 2. And then it sounds like milestone 10 is going to be the polish before the launch of Alpha 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a good place to be. Like, this is what you want. This is what you want from a developer. I think, too many times in the gaming industry now, how many times do we see games come out before they're ready? How many times are they forced out because they need to hit a certain fiscal year, or, you know what I mean? Whereas this time we actually get that opportunity to really work through bugs, really work through what really just checks and balances, checking all the bugs. Be a pro. If you're on the Alpha 2, please make sure that you are a proactive bug reporter. Make sure that you are in, because ultimately it makes the best experience for everybody else in the long run. I'll never forget early on before New World's release, and we were in the beta, and I've never been so passionate about putting bugs out, because at the time I'm like, that was the first big MMO release we had in years.
Oh,
years.
Forever. It felt like.
And so it felt like a big deal. It felt like, okay, we need to help and make this the best we can. Really, I don't know that it made much of a difference, but in the long run, when you consider AshesOfCreation, you really want to make it the best experience. And so, yeah, just to mirror both of what the guys are saying, just keep those perspectives and those expectations tempered, and at the right level, that this is absolutely an alpha. So let's make sure that we're all doing our part as a community to help make it better, because we really have a good chance to help influence this, don't we, Sonny?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing on what you said with New World and that bug fixing, like in beta, because I feel like when beta comes out for this game, that it's not going to feel like New World's beta did. I feel like they're really reserving beta for a final run of just the last bit of polish, because again, like, they're not beholden to a company that's publicly traded. They do not have that kind of pressure behind them from shareholders and a board and, bosses that don't give a crap what the game is actually about. They just want it. They need something to happen in fiscal quarter 3, and it's, none of that exists here. So I wonder if the beta isn't a more polished version than maybe what we saw in some other MMOs, because of the time that they get to spend in alpha. And the fact that they just get to spend however long they want within, their own level of reason.
Right.
And you're also talking about, a team full of developers who have, the team that they're building. They are building the team of people that they want there. And they were even talking about having to having to cipher through like 3 to 4 or 5,000 applications for a couple of positions, which is absolutely, it's wildly bonkers, as Sonny would say, to me, to have to go through something like that. And that goes to show that when you're doing that, and they're saying that they still haven't found the person they need for that exact position, because they have to meet both their culture and the skill level. So if you figure that they're filtering through and ciphering through candidates for people that fit their culture, right? Like nobody wants an a-hole in the office, or somebody that just doesn't fit in the office. They don't want that. And they also want somebody that has the skills to execute the things that they want to execute. So by doing that, inadvertently, they're building a team that has MMO experience, not just playing, but developing them, knowing what the ins and outs of the launch of a game takes, including a well-vetted alpha, a well-vetted beta, and knowing that in the past, a lot of games have been put into beta phase when they really should have been in the alpha phase.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But
that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like,
yes,
it felt like it was a little out of order there.
Out of order because they are being pushed by some corporate, for all intents and purposes, dickhead in a suit that's pushing them into getting something out within some timetable, which really they don't have a timetable. Like Steven said time and time again, when he gets the inevitable question, release when? Launch when?
I kind of hate that, don't you?
Of course, we think it's funny because we are super invested in the development portion of this game. But Steven says, when it's ready. And that to me is the gold that we might not quite understand at this point, but when the game launches in a very, very polished and done state, that's when we'll appreciate it.
Agreed. 100%. 100% agreed.
JB, how excited were you to see a biome that was not the Riverlands?
I miss the Riverlands. That said, Tatooine is one of my all-time favorite planets of Star Wars. Seeing the Sand Squall Desert reminded me 1,000% of 19 being in elsewhere in ESO or running around in the Alakir Desert. Like, it just really brought back all of, and especially 2012 SWTORs on Tatooine. It just brought you back, and it was really nice to see. Like, right off the top, they kick off that ambience, and you're just listening to the nighttime crickets, and just that that desert feel. You can kind of hear that wind kind of rustling up with some of the sand kind of kicking in there, and you're just like, oh yeah, this is right. This is right. I mean, I was really stoked to see it, and I love the fact that we got to see it first time, and it's not daytime. It's not the normal game time hours. It's something different, just completely different, right? So that way we still have a full reveal of Sand Squall in my head, because we haven't even seen the daytime hours yet. Like when everyone's, normally playing and doing their thing. And yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. Absolutely fantastic.
I think there's something special about a desert at night. Cash can speak more than I can about this, because I've never really lived in a place that had a desert. I grew up in the middle of Canada and moved to Iowa. Like, there's no desert around here. But when a person that has not lived around something like that sees a desert at night, it is nothing short of Mars. Like, it is just a completely foreign place that looks alien to me. And so I thought that the lighting was spectacular. I think that one of the big questions that I'll ask you right away here, Cash, is, first of all, what'd you think of the desert at night? But second of all, most of the conversation you saw between people was, is it too bright to be a desert at night, or is it too dark to be a desert at night? So what say you on this one?
What say me on this one? The desert of night reminds me of the flats of Hemet, California, which to me is a land of hot death and meth and bad decisions. So if I have to be quite honest, when we're talking about a desert biome, I am thinking of all of those things
Maybe
that
not
I
your
absolutely loathe about driving down the highway in between where I live and Vegas, which I've made many times. However, the Sand Squall Desert, on the other hand, was a beautiful mix of this arid desert, more like a Sonoma type of biome to me, which that is a magical part of the West Coast's. It's not even on the coast; it's in Arizona, but like that part of Native American history to me is like one of the parts of America that I love the most. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Like there's kind of this oasis feel in some spots. I really think they captured a good mix between like desert trees and these big giant rocky outcroppings. And honestly, like what came to mind for me was a good solid melding of like Beggar's Canyon and Narnia is the way that I could explain that the most, right? So like the arid and hot parts of Tatooine all the way to like these beautiful, sprouts of greenery and trees and stuff like that. And I love that they did that. And the fact that it was at night, that they said a couple of things about the night, this lighting team, which I really would like to very much bring some love to this lighting team. Like, can you imagine, like, there's all these like system designers and PvP designers and combat designers and like all these massive titles. And then there's these poor dudes who are insanely talented, but like lighting designer. You know what I mean? Like,
see, now I'm going to take umbrage with this for just a hot second, because I feel like we have existed in this role for a long time, not the lore side of things, but the audio side of things, right? The whole world has moved past radio, and the three of us are just like, radio's pretty good. Have you guys heard radio?
That's so accurate. Oh my gosh.
They were using it in World War I.
Oh my gosh, that's so accurate.
We got radio.
Yeah.
Right. So in the same vein, Jibbs, did you want to go?
No, go ahead, babe. You're doing great.
So in the same vein as people would say that, like, what a bunch of freaking audio dorks, right? In the same vein, just riddle me this, Batman. Go watch your next movie and hit the GD mute button. Hit it. See what happens to your entire experience with said movie. It's gonna suck, right? And the same thoughts went through my head with this lighting team. You don't consider it. You don't think about it, but you experience it. And it's not just like nighttime's supposed to be dark, right? Yeah. That is the natural thought in our head. Nighttime, dark. But look what they've done with, it doesn't matter what biome it is. We're going to see their work in lighting in every single biome within Vera. We're going to see it. So to me, the fact that they have taken feedback from their original design, gone back and given the nighttime this vibe where you're not obscuring the vision of the player, so they can see NPCs, they can see mobs. They don't require a torch, like Steven was saying the entire time. And the other thing that one of the folks on the lighting team said was, nobody wants to play in constant darkness. They've gone back and they redesigned all these things. So you have these views of this night sky that is full of life and celestial being. And if you caught some of the visuals that they were showing when you're looking from the ground up, they were looking from the ground up, like you could see the foliage popping up because they wanted to showcase the sky. And you look up at this gorgeous celestial sky with all of these things. That is when you need to pay homage and to give love to the dang lighting team.
JB, Did you have some sort of like experience when you saw some of the shots that they were doing? Did you enjoy the sky more than the general feel of the night in the desert, or what was something that stood out to you?
Oh, so that skybox, that was something. I'm really glad you brought that up. That was something I really wanted to talk about, because that was, Cash, you talk about going back to the drawing board. That was part of it. They converted that sky to a cube map. And I wrote this down, which means it can rotate as the planet rotates.
Oh, right.
So not only do you have that lighting and really I like this because the nighttime lighting in the skybox, like those, I could see those two teams really jiving together when it comes from a design standpoint, making sure those things fit and play well together. And so seeing that skybox was just amazing. You're seeing the nebulas move through the sky. You're seeing like Cash said, the broken moon, the planet rotating, and now you're seeing all these other things just changing, and it feels good. It feels right. And the lighting I love the purple hues. That was something that they had talked about, really bringing in that nighttime feel. I felt when I saw that nighttime lighting, to me, it's like, okay, this feels right. It's dark, but it feels right. Like this is, if you're trying, and that was something that they brought up often, Sonny. I don't know if you picked up on that, but they talked a lot about real life, like realistic lighting. And from an MMO standpoint, I kind of think it's a unique take, because oftentimes things are not really stylized in that regard. Like it's just either dark or not as dark.
Yeah, like I think that there's certainly a technological limitation that existed prior to the last decade, right? At some point, the lighting was just not capable of being at the level of realism. It just didn't. It simply didn't exist. It was something where, once the technology caught up and the processing power caught up to the point where you were able to start to have these kind of things happen, that it was a big change in the realism of games, because you can make a person look more and more and more real, just dialed in. But if the lighting is wrong, you get that uncanny valley type of situation where they look like a person, but they look weird, right? And it's the lighting. It's the fact that people exist in different like shades depending on where the light is. They just always do. They're never perfectly lit as they're walking around in the universe. And that kind of, once that changed, you brought in these kind of people that specialized in this stuff. And God bless these nerds that are about this lighting game, because they are they're not the heroes we want. They're the heroes that we need, right? Oh, yeah. Like they're the ones that are doing this kind of stuff. And I think that my favorite part about the whole thing is that you have this moment, like Cash said, when you're looking up at the sky. And my favorite part about all of it, not only the fact that it's mind-blowing that the planet is rotating and the skybox is rotating, the galaxy is rotating. Like, that's insane, first of all. We have never seen anything like that before. But the fact that if you've ever looked up at the night sky without the wash of a city near you, the sky is lit differently than the surrounding world. Like, the sky looks like it is a different hue and has a completely different light to it. And I really felt that when I was looking at it. It just had a different hue and it had a different luminescence to it versus the land around it, which was, I mean, it's crazy how good we're getting with stuff like that and how good these guys are getting.
Yeah.
So just real quick, I love that that's what blew your mind. The thing that blew my mind was the fact that a harbinger blew up a moon. Like, that's a big deal.
I mean, other than the exploding planet that's descending on the Earth that'll kill us all.
That's no moon.
Nice.
Right. So there's that. And Chad seems to think that the biggest part about that entire thing is the fact that there's zero glare coming off of your head. Nice Gaming. Hi, Nice Gaming. He's in chat right now. He says, "Hello, LoreForged. May I offer some feedback?" Sonny having hair is really distracting.
Yes, what is
Please
happening
have
in
him
chat?
shave it like the rest of you. And I agree. And then Dr. Burns, who's also in here, says that light needs to be reflecting off of Sonny's head, which would probably mean that the lighting team would need to kind of tamp down things a little bit for our show in particular, but it would probably make the perfect nighttime ambience if you were just to shave your dome.
Good luck.
You know what's going to happen? It's going to take Kelly just one day and be like, honey, it's time.
Well, we're going to fight this one for a long time, folks.
You're going to have
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
You're going to be that guy with the bald on top and just full on mullet down the back like a slide.
It's going to be a thing. You know what's going to there'll be an intervention at the end of this story. That's how it's going to end.
I said the same exact thing the day before I started bicking my head. Hi, Sonny.
Yeah, I hate you both. Chat, you're on thin ice.
Chat gets a yellow flag. So what did you guys think of, we saw the sand squall, we saw the skybox, and of course the lighting, the wand, and the mage abilities. Oh, Sonny, I know you're a big wand guy. Take us there.
Yeah, those wand work, somebody. They really get
you. Watch it. You already got one in earlier that we let go. I love it. You know that I am like a huge fan of the wand as the mage's weapon. It is important to me that the mage has a wand. I've played way too many games where the mage has a staff and he only uses the staff. Like, come on, give the mage a wand and don't just let it be something that he keeps in his backpack that gives him a stat. It's a stat stick. Yeah. I don't want that. I want Warcraft a wand. Style. Yes, right? I want a wand. And this game is giving me a wand. And not only are they giving me a wand, but like the animations with this thing are fantastic. The lighting, this was a lighting heavy development thing. It was a big deal. And so to be able to have the blues and the whites of the lightning come through, and the beam off of the wand when he was just throwing the beam, it was just absolute like Voldemort type of stuff. It just looks so fluid. So when I see that stuff, it makes me wonder. It's always one of those flavor of the month type of things. When you get a couple mage development updates, everyone wants to be a mage, and then we're going to see the bard, and everyone's going to want to be a bard, right? Like last month, everyone wanted to be a fighter. So it's stuff like that. But man, like no matter what happens, and no matter what happens in the future, like that wand is looking real good out of that mage.
Yeah, and I think you're going to have you have really some diehard magic users that are out there that are very excited about how the wand is looking so far. And the biggest thing that impresses me is that I cannot remember any game that I've ever played, maybe one that I've witnessed where wand work is that cool. And that would be the latest Harry Potter game, which I didn't even play. I watched you stream it. Right. Mm-hmm. And that wand work does not, I really like the damn word wand work. I think that's going to kind of be a thing. It doesn't even compare to the wand work that we are seeing in Ashes of Creation. I mean, you saw at one point that those animations started to change. And the dev was talking about how that changes as the elements, as you start to rotate through the elements that the mage is capable of. And like that in itself kind of blew my mind. But the part and I hate to go back to audio, but this part really did make an impact on me. For the third time, I was watching this, listening to the developer update on my way home, just before I got home before the show. And I'm just kind of stuck in bumper to bumper Orange County traffic on the way home. And I'm just like zoned out, listening to the audio of the YouTube video. And I could not help but notice the flame sound. You can tell the difference between the elements just by the audio. Yeah. And I was so impressed by that. And I'm like, dude, Jibs would have a freaking litter of kittens if I pointed this out to him. So that's why I'm like pointing it out to you guys now. Go back and listen to what they've done with just the audio in regards to how the elements change with the wand. And you can hear the sizzle. You can hear the flame when they do that beam. You can hear it all. And then, of course, in traffic, I'm like, ooh, that sounds really good. I wonder what it looks like. And I'm like, driving. It's my photo. I don't care. Report me. I'm watching the thing and I'm like, this wand work is sick. Name another game ever that has done wand work better than Ashes of Creation is doing right now, pre-alpha.
It's not there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Harry Potter game, right? Like, it's the Harry Potter game, but that's like, you're talking about a single player, not multiple people. Like, it's a game about wizards, for God's sakes. This in Ashes is just the tiniest little fraction of gameplay, and they're just crushing it, right? So, I mean, JB, I could talk forever about that stuff. I one of the other things that I just to say, like, I had the same thing about the fighter. I found it fascinating how good they are with the fluid mechanics of the positioning of where they are dimensionally as they're linking spells. So, like, you have, if they're throwing a spell from the left to the right, then they go from the right to the left, and everything just looks very, very fluid from left to right, much like Kingdom Come Deliverance, right? Like, it's all just linked. It's extremely good as an MMO. So, like, for an MMO, I mean, it's good for an RPG. It's great for an MMO. So I'm excited about that. I thought it was super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I love the audio. I love that he brought that up. That was, so listening to that, going from the flame to the water, like, you knew immediately, without a shadow of a doubt, oh, we've got some kind of water spell going on right now. I mean, just hearing that just kind of take over is the last time I heard something like that, similar to that, would be the Resto Shaman in Warcraft, because they use water. And
yeah.
And so just hearing that like that was just, and it was like improved upon, you know, from way back when. And so now just hearing that, and you're, oh my gosh, there is one critique that I do have from an audio standpoint, and like, take this with a grain of salt, right? Like, I'm not a professional sound designer working on Ashes of Creation by any means, but on the Ball of Lightning, and I didn't realize, I went back even to the commissions while I was prepping for the show, the commissions update, and listened to it as well. And it was there too. And I just never had heard it until recently. So the Ball of Lightning, like, visually they had made changes to that spell. Like, we had seen it at the commission update, that Ball of Lightning spell, and then they brought it into, you know, this update, and they made community changes. And from a visual standpoint, I would almost, and I don't know if I should put this on the forums or not, I would almost like to see an audio change on that, or an improvement or tweak, because what's happening, and I wrote this down because I really wanted to make sure I conveyed what I was hearing. So I want to read this to you. So from an audio standpoint, I almost wonder, and again, this could just be personal taste, so take this with a grain of salt. And again, I'm not an audio designer working on this game, but if cleaning up, so when that orb comes out, it sounds like it's putting off that, like, pulsing, and you're hearing that, which I think is one of the main drivers for that spell sound from a design standpoint. But what you're also hearing is, it sounds like a Foley clip of air overwhelming a microphone that doesn't have a windshield on it. And so, and then
like a plosive?
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know how a microphone sounds if it's in a wind, just like in the middle of wind.
Oh, like it's got the.
Yeah. So imagine that, but they don't have that windshield on there. So it's just eating all that wind. Right. But it sounds like they took it and then they processed it. That particular portion of that sound, it's almost, I feel like it almost overdrives that spell from a standpoint, like from an audio standpoint, and like just tweaking that just a little bit, because it was almost distracting. I felt like in regard to the new visual change they had made. It's like it took away from the spell to me. It took away from the grandeur at this new visual update, because you're hearing that it's like, I mean, it's just really pulsing.
Yeah.
And so like maybe a tweak
it's such
on that.
An uncomfortable sound too, right? Like humans do not like that pressure sound. I got to be honest with you. Ball lightning is my least favorite spell that they have for the mage. I know that people love it. And I just do not get it. I think the other ones, I think basically every other spell that it has is more visually interesting to me than the ball lightning.
Roger. Sonny does not like balls. Copy. Right. Noted.
Yep. That's it. You got it in one. The ball lightning is just not my thing, you know, like I get that they're trying to improve it, but I would be fine if it was gone. You know, that's probably not a very popular mage opinion on things, but the other ones just look so good, you know, and sound so good. Everything with the wand, fantastic. The lightning where the person is lifting themselves off the ground looks fantastic. When they call down the lightning and it just blasts them out of nowhere, fantastic. You're not feeling those?
I love it, and I love you, but I disagree with you 100%. And the reason being is because that, number one, they improved, and maybe this is more like a development opinion than others, but I have another one aside from that. But from a development side, they listened to what people wanted to see from the mage video, and they improved upon the ball lightning skill. So I thought visually it was awesome. I loved the change. From a mechanics point of view, I like the skill because it's very, very useful. I mean, you imagine that as an AoE type of a skill in either a raid, dungeon, or, you know, any AoE environment. That is going to be incredibly useful to you. And it's going to make a lot of variance in the amount of DPS, although we don't have DPS meters. So how are you ever going to be able to tell? But if you were to launch that at a number of mobs, that is a very useful and effective AoE skill. So regardless of like how I personally feel about just this big ball of lightning moving very, very slow, strategically, it's a very useful skill.
Yeah, I buy that. I buy that, like you're clearing out a lane, right? Like you're creating a no-go zone, which is useful in PvP and PvE, and this is a PvX game, and I get that. I just think it's my least favorite of all of them. And obviously I'm a minority on this one, right? Because you have a lot of people that were very interested in this particular spell enough that they were vocal and wanted a change on it. And Intrepid has shown that they are willing to listen to people, which, you know, side note, that I should have probably talked about at the beginning. The addition to the whole alpha thing, they said that like this particular stream was a lot about, here are things that we're working on. Let us know what you like, which, you know, this was a very different stream on that. I want to get into something different, but I just wanted to make sure that we got that out. Like this stream was basically here's some stuff, what do you think, as opposed to check out this big bag of shiny stuff I have, right? Like it was just
next month.
Almost, yeah, that'll be next month, right? Like it was almost a weird like turn for them to have a stream like this. And one of the things that we kind of saw before. And so now they're showing us the weapon skill set for the wand. It didn't have to be the wand, but it was the wand, where they showed us skill trees and how those abilities can mash and be enhanced by other classes and everything like that. And at the end of it, they said, what did you think about it? So JB, what did you think about what they showed you for this whole like system?
I really like it. I really like the horizontal and vertical progression. And we're starting to see that more and more as these development updates go on. Like we saw it heavily with the fighter in a big way. I feel like for the first time, like in a major way. And then you're seeing it again. And we kind of saw it with the Ranger. No, I don't want to take away from that. We did see it with the Ranger, but it just feels like it just keeps building. You know, we saw the Ranger first, I think, and then the fighter, and even more so an expanded sense. And then you saw the wand, which is just ridiculous, like in a good way. Like, you know, you've got so many progression options. You know, they talked about, you know, you can customize the length of the weapon combo. You can customize what your finishers are. You know, you can customize your attacks and, you know, into beam attacks. And as far as like your passives and all those things are just really built into, hey, it makes me feel like, hey, what kind of character do you want? Because you're going to be able to build that. You're going to be able to really accent the class skills with the weapon that you want to make, you know, which is cool, Sonny, kind of from from one Harry Potter fan to the other. Like, it's like, ooh, I get my wand's unique to me. It's not going to be the same wand that Sonny uses. It's going to be my wand. And that is really, really cool.
Cash is losing his mind over there. Come on, nerd.
Say when. I'm right here, baby.
We're nerding
Say
out
when.
here, nerd. Where are you at?
I can't say. The last comment.
How's that whiskey doing?
Look,
it's fantastic.
you're gonna have to accept the fact that there are wands in this game and that grown men are gonna play with them. All right.
But Jim said, in relation to Sonny, my wand.
I know what he said. I was here. He said it right at me and looked me in the eyes as he said it. All right.
Nice.
We all were there.
Only one. I seem to only be the one with a testicular fortitude to mention it.
You're the only one who never graduated 6th grade.
Oh, that's well said.
So want to say F you, but you're right, I guess. On all those things.
Oh.
Cash, what did you think of the fact that they tried really hard to let you know that you have the ability to create not just a character, but a team? I felt like they were really pushing that team aspect of these kind of things by saying, like, the way that you develop your skill tree will allow other players to play off of you and create very spectacular type of results.
I mean, on top of just the visuals that you're going to be able to create and the taxing of your GPUs that is going to be taking place with all these various builds. I love the fact that there are, you guys, 7 ways to customize this weapon. You know that's going to repeat itself over and over again across the myriad of weapons that are going to be available to us as players. And I think Jibbs and I were talking about it on an early morning phone call of all the ways I'm going to be able to customize my bow to fit my playstyle. I'm a little bit scared about the development time and resources it's going to take to make that happen. But then again, like, we're all terrified about 64 effing classes as well with augments and all the things that are going to be. But I mean, you look at showcases like this and, like, I just kind of have faith that Intrepid has this in hand. They're putting out some insane stuff for us to see every single time. Like, I don't care if there's a small bug that pops up that gives this Bethesda box around a mob. That's going to be fixed. Look at the core of what they're building right now. And you take a weapon that you wouldn't think in other MMOs that would really be like a crucial, critical weapon to the flavor of what they're building. And they bring all of this eye candy magic with the wand. Think about what it's going to be with every other freaking weapon. Look what we just saw with the fighter. Mm-hmm. Nuts. It looks amazing. So go ahead.
No, I mean, I agree. I think that like what you said, the first thing that came to mind is you've got a classic weapon for a classic character in a genre that hasn't seen that for a very long time. And next up is the Bard.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited about that one. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they dropped that on us at the end. They basically said, hey, the Bard's coming. And we will get a development update for the Bard. But the Bard is exactly what we're talking about, right? Like we've seen fighters and we've seen swords and we've seen tanks and things like that. But we haven't seen a mage with a wand like this. And they're just dialing it up to bring back one of the all-time classic characters in RPGs. And that is the Bard. And we have not seen a Bard for a very, very, very long time since Lotro. And the world has evolved quite a bit since Lotro was graphically relevant. So, I mean, I when I heard that it was coming before they were going to drop alpha, I'm like, all right, like this is big.
You know, that was 17 years ago, Sonny.
Oh my God. Is that true?
Yeah. Came out in 2007. I'll never forget. That was my first MMO experience. And I played, it was a minstrel. I played a minstrel in that game. I was a healer with that bard class.
That makes me gray, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That, I mean, and you guys tried to play it again like a few years ago.
That's like a couple months ago.
Yeah, they didn't work out very well.
No.
I don't know if you knew what the feedback was on that, Sonny, but yeah, Lotro didn't update a lot of shit.
Visually, it left something to be desired. Its age is unfortunately.
What do you want out of it? It's like a 20-year-old game.
You're not wrong.
Okay, so's Warcraft.
That's fair. That's fair. Warcraft still
Super
looks
fair.
pretty relevant.
All right. So as we wrap up, boys, you know what we do every time. And Cash, I'm going to you first. Give me a best out of 10 for this development update.
It was a little bit all over the place, which is fine, like expected, and I'm okay with that because they were showing multiple systems. The wand really isn't my weapon, although I was still severely impressed with it. So as an overall, like what I really am into and what they were showcasing, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Sonny?
I'm a much more tougher grader on a lot of these things than Cash is. And I've had some that that you guys have rated pretty highly and I've rated lower. This one, I think I'm rating higher than I normally would for something because I think that they had a vision for what they wanted this update to be and they stuck to that vision, even though it wasn't what everybody wanted, right? People wanted that fighter update that we had last time. And when they unloaded that thing, it was spectacular, right? Everyone loved it, everything like this. This was a tough update, right? Like they basically said, you're going to get nighttime and wands. Okay. So like right off the bat, you're in a tough spot. But the fact is that they showed us behind the scenes some very cool things. And they had a different tactic for this, which was, here are things that we're working on, and we want you to let us know what you think. Like, these are some things you've already seen, and we've made changes. Tell us what you think. So because of that, I'm going to give this an 8.5, which is pretty high for me. Ooh. But I really respect this particular update for what they were doing and how they did it.
I agree.
I really respect your use of the decimal system. I'm very impressed.
There's a half point in there. We're not counting on fingers.
Have you ever had like so many insults in your head, like you just can't speak, but you just stare and just watch? That's where I'm at right now. I'm in a complete agreement with both of you. You know, really, really good update. I felt like it was much more of a tech update in a lot of ways than, let's say, something as flashy and, you know, as marketable as, you know, maybe like a fighter update or something like that. It was a great update. I really thought they did a great job. Truthfully, phenomenal in my head, seeing the updates that from what they're making just from month to month. So for me, it's a 9, absolutely 9 out of 10. A really, really good. I would call this a really good tech update. And I'm glad that Steven brought on the lighting team. And I think I had their names.
That was cool.
Yeah. I don't have their names now in front of me. I apologize. But yeah, just seeing everybody there, from the person who made the skybox, and just seeing all the class updates, just really, they're headed in a really good direction. And that was my comment to them on Twitter. Like, this is a great direction. So 9 out of 10 for me.
Speaking of which, you had a question on the stream.
Yeah,
Your question got asked on the stream. You had a question about where the lore for the wands came from, and it was a really fantastic question, and he totally called it out and then didn't answer it.
Well, I get it. Like I asked, what was some of the team's inspirations, and truthfully, I was just stoked that they answered. I was just shocked. That was cool. That was really, really cool. And so I like the fact that they kind of kept that under wraps as far as some of their major places that they do pull inspiration for the visual effects, and animations and stuff for their wands. So yeah, I could see a little Harry Potter in there. I could see a little
for sure.
The way that the flick of the wrists,
It's like the sweeping things.
That right there.
Right?
Yes.
When he's
that is
throwing these
1,000% Harry Potter.
Just like all like Voldemort type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's just super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, pipe down over there. You know.
My gosh. Here, let's get the spotlight back on Junior. Go ahead.
Oh.
Were you guys talking about Harry Potter?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Well, don't fall asleep too much with your wood burning pyrography on the burner there. You'll hurt yourself, nerd.
Just one last point that I have to make is on a personal note. Right at the end of the stream, Steven was talking about having these memories of the desert biome, and just like having fun in the desert when he was a kid.
Super fun, wasn't it?
And he mentions it is hilarious because he mentions a Southern California spot for off-roading, which is called Ocotillo Wells. And I've spent a lot of time as a kid and an adult at Ocotillo Wells, both RVing, camping, off-roading, all that stuff throughout my life. So I was super stoked to hear that. I was also super stoked to hear, as an arson investigator, that Steven would like to, he liked as a child to drench stuffed animals in flammable liquid and ignite them. I caught a really good satisfaction buzz off of that little comment. And then I remembered that when I was younger, we did a lot of stuff like that. That's just what you do when you are camping in the middle of the desert, which is what Ocotillo Wells is. But anyway, I just thought I would mention that because when he said that, I was like, that is like local stuff that really truly reminds me that Intrepid is very close to where I currently live. So I thought that was just super cool to hear that Steven grew up in that same stuff that I did. Super cool.
That's cool.
You should bring him a gasoline soaked bear.
That's funny, but the first thing that popped up in my mind was bringing them fly swatters when they were talking about.
Right? Me too. Oh my god.
Margaret was like, pump the brakes because our fans are going to bring us fly swatters. So
oh my goodness.
Say that, Steven. I laughed. And they may or may not receive at some point some bug squashers.
It's funny that she said that. As she was saying that, I already had Amazon up and was looking for, quote, massive fly swatter.
Can you imagine how many people volunteered? Like she said, like, oh no, people already spend all their time sending her pings and stuff saying, I'll help you get rid of bugs all day. It's got to be all day, right?
Ping,
like,
ping, ping.
Every day, all day.
Oh,
she has to be in streamer mode forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
you want to talk about somebody having to protect their Discord messages? I'm sure that they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This was LoreForged, the podcast for Ashes of Creation. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, let us know how we're doing, whether it's on the podcast app of choice that you're listening on or on a YouTube comment section. Let us know what you think of the show. What did you think of the update? We want to hear from you. You can always call us 516-875-1776. And of course, you can always email us, loreforgedhq@gmail.com.
You can go to loreforged.com and find the links to all of our Ashes of Creation content. That is basically where we have all of our links, and that includes YouTube, which is personally bothering me right now because it won't process one of my videos, and I don't know why. We're going to have to figure that out after the show. That is at youtube.com/@LoreForged. And then, of course, you might be watching Twitch right now. And that is twitch.tv/LoreForgedHQ. We are getting closer and closer and closer to me being able to stream Ashes of Creation. But until then, I've been streaming Manor Lords over the last week, and that is a lot of fun. We have a lot of conversations about Ashes and just generally what being a peon in the Middle Ages would have been like. So that's a good time. Also, Patreon. The last show was entirely supplied by our patrons, and we have been leaning on them pretty heavily lately for some fun content. You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/LoreForgedHQ and get access to all of our stuff early, including the State of the Owl. Cash.
Yeah, and also with Patreon, we are planning our whiskey social.
Ooh.
I am going to be a massive fan of. Thank you very much.
Do we have a date on that? I'm
No.
not sure if we have a date on that.
Not yet. Yeah, we have to
coming
order some. We have to order some specialized whiskey for that, and then drink it ourselves in the comfort of our own home while we're doing that for the patrons. Anyway, follow us on Twitter, friends, or
For the
X,
patrons.
if you'd like. Follow us on Instagram at LoreForgedHQ, and I'd like to give a massive welcome to some of our latest members of the newly coined ForgeFam, which we love. Our ForgeFam is very, very close to our hearts. I would like to welcome, oh, this one's gonna be hard.
Uh-oh.
Overlord Wu Queen Yi. If I jack that up, I'm so sorry. You can send me hate.
I'm Ron
on
Burgundy.
Discord. That would be totally fine. Martin JMS and Keo, and then also Krast. Welcome to the Forge Fam. We're here.
Sweet deal. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week in gaming. We love you. We'll see you right here next week on LoreForged. Take care, everybody.
Peace, love, and honeybees.
Safe travels, adventurers.